Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. My name is Veronica Rodriguez from Team 7, and along with my classmate Chris, we're going to be talking to you guys about our case study on the CKE restaurant chain. So let's get started. Okay, so we're going to give you guys a little bit of background on the chain, and the way we broke it down was just by making a timeline just to make it easier for you guys to understand. So it all started back in the 1940s, where Carl Kushar and his wife purchased a hot dog stand in LA. Eventually, Kushar and his wife would own 4 hot dog stands and the first full-service restaurant, Carl's Drive-In Barbecue, in 1956. Then we move on to the 1950s, where in 1956, Kushar opens the first 2 Carl's Jr.'s restaurant. The modern-day concept of the QSR, quick service restaurant, is born. Then we go all the way to the 1980s, where by 1981, more than 300 Carl's Jr. restaurants exist. Kushar decides to take the company public on the stock exchange, and by 1984, Kushar opens the business to franchises. Then we move on to the 1990s, where upon the passing of Kushar in 1992, management is reorganized and CKE Restaurants is formed. In 1995, CKE acquires Hardee's Restaurant, then the 4th largest QSR in the US. Which brings us to the year 2000, where the monster Thickburger is born. So it is touted as the largest mega burger in the US served at a QSR. And the company faces backlash amidst other QSRs like McDonald's and Wendy's by offering healthier options.
Hey, thank you very much, Veronica, for giving us a great introduction into CKE restaurants. Hey everyone, I'm Chris Reed, and I'm going to walk you through CKE restaurants business intelligence model. But first, before we do that, I wanted to give a little bit of background into why business intelligence matters. Now, in chapter 12 of the text from Perlson, Saunders, and Galetta, we learn that when there are competing companies, business intelligence and analytics can help firms to pivot and make quick decisions that can possibly aid in the differentiation of their business and provide some additional business insights. Now, on page 260 of the text, we also learned 5 big ways that data and analytics can help organizations, and we're going to provide some insights into a few of those here. So why does business intelligence matter? And for those of you wondering, business intelligence is simply the set of technologies and processes that use data to understand and analyze business performance. So one of the first ways that business intelligence can help an organization is, as we all know today, there are various analytics platforms that can help a company aid in competitive advantage. Those platforms, certainly in the case of CKE, can help to shorten the life cycle of innovation. And there's several different analytics platforms out there today. Google Analytics certainly being one of the best known platforms that provide various data and information for businesses. But also today there are several other platforms such as Adobe Analytics, which some would argue provide some significantly more powerful insights than even Google Analytics can provide if it's used the correct way. Another way that intelligence matters is that it can provide insights into fact-based data and decision making. And businesses can leverage those different analytics platforms certainly as a tool to provide better insights. Business intelligence aids in innovation, segmentation of products, and better overall product design. And an example of this is a company might use a platform such as Adobe Target or Google Optimize to do some A/B testing to understand how consumers or users react to different variations of the same web page, or you could even use a platform like usability.com to gain insights into different use cases and how users would behave on a certain website or react to a different product design. All of these business intelligence platforms, Google Analytics, Adobe Analytics, even more powerful BI tools like Microsoft BI, Tableau, IBM ThoughtSpot, all of these tools provide just-in-time feedback. And what this means is that a business has the real-time information at their fingertips. They can set up alerts and notifications, and for any behavior that they want to be notified about, or any certain data point that happens within the business, they can get a notification instantaneously. And at the end of the day, these platforms also these business intelligence platforms provide inspiration for the vision on a company's, on the next big thing. So we see in the case with CKE restaurants where they really used their business intelligence platform to provide data insights into creating this monster Thickburger when all of the other restaurants were going the opposite way. This is a 1,400 calorie burger, and at the same time in 2004, these other businesses were going the opposite way. They were going healthy. McDonald's and Wendy's and all these fast food chains were offering healthier solutions and healthier options on their menu. And meanwhile, CKE via Hardee's went the opposite direction and provided this monster burger. So as we look at the CKE intelligence model that they used, a couple of important things to point out here is we see the data, information, and knowledge Venn diagram here. And all of these were used by CKE to really come up with the monster Thickburger. So as we know from the text, they did a fantastic job of using their business intelligence platform. They coined CKE performance reporting, or CPR for short, which is kind of ironic when you think about it, since they created the monster Thickburger and they have a BI tool called CPR. So, really what CKE restaurants did with this CPR tool is it really became known internally as the brain behind the burger. So they used all of these business intelligence tools, analytics, data, information, and knowledge to come up with the idea for the monster Thickburger. And the CPR tool enabled the company to monitor burger performance in test markets. So before they even rolled the burger out to all of the restaurants, they used their platform, their business intelligence platform, to monitor the burger in different test markets, and that gave them the confidence to roll this out to all of their restaurants. The business intelligence tool also allowed CKE to see if the burger was increasing sales or if it was cannibalizing burgers in other markets. So Hardee's is known as a restaurant that it's a quick service restaurant, so their menu prices are a little bit lower. And this monster Thickburger was a little bit more expensive, not only to the consumer, but it was more expensive to sell. So this tool allowed CKE to see if the burger was net increasing profit or if it was cannibalizing other burgers. CKE was also able to use the business intelligence tool to look at production metrics. So they're able to do a cost-benefit analysis of producing a larger burger and if that made sense from an economic perspective. Of course, CKE was also able to use traditional metrics such as understanding gross profits and total sales, not just across the board, but really pinpoint different restaurants and see how they were performing against other restaurants. And what this tool did was it really created a rich database of operational data, day-to-day data, in fact, that the restaurant chain was able to use to increase sales. And ultimately, what this did, the Monster Thickburger rollout, it ultimately saved the company from bankruptcy. And they were able to take the learnings and the data and the information and roll in a $7 million advertising strategy that really helped to increase sales even more. So just quickly, I wanted to go over the differentiation between the data, the knowledge, and the information. So we know from the text that data are specific objective facts or observations. So for CKE, an example of this might be store number 835 in Los Angeles had sales of 300 Monster Thickburgers in June versus sales of 100 Monster Thickburgers in July. And these insights are very important that they can then take down another level and look at information, which Peter Drucker said was, quote, data endowed with relevance and purpose. And essentially information is just taking the data and forming it into bite-sized and meaningful chunks of information. For example, like compiling aggregate data, from various CKE restaurant stores and making it more meaningful. And then knowledge, of course, on the last circle of the Venn diagram is simply the mix of contextual information, experience, rules, and values. So in essence, what this means is that it takes the data and the information here, and then it couples it with qualitative learnings from the firm. For example, at Hardee's, Hardee's is looking at sales at the Monster Thickburger and notices that sales at one store are less than others. The CFO might note that, hey, this is a new store. It's in the process of training its employees, and this knowledge might help them shift some of their sales strategies. And then finally, we're going to bring this home, and we're really going to look at how CKE took this concept of the knowledge management process that we read about in our text, and how we see that this is a continuous evolution or iterative process. This is never ending. And that's what makes businesses that do this really well super successful, because they understand and get that knowledge management. It's not just a one-time thing. It's always evolving, and it's iterative and takes feedback and continuous learning. So the core principle behind the knowledge management is that individuals are the ultimate source of organizational knowledge. Hence, individuals using these systems in silos are not effective. So the key here is that knowledge must be captured and transferred across the organization. And really the most important point is that for organizations utilizing business intelligence tools effectively, this means that firms might have a sustained competitive advantage if their employees knows how to use the tools, and they're able to apply the knowledge from these tools to business problems. So now let's take a quick look at the circular nature of the knowledge management process and how CKE restaurants applied this to their model. So first up in the process is knowledge generation. And so we learn from the text that knowledge generation includes all activities that discover new knowledge. So for CKE, this meant that they use data mining, analytical processes, data and reporting to launch the Monster Thickburger. Again, we remember that while everyone else in the restaurant QSR business was going healthy, CKE took a left turn and went with the 1,400 calorie Monster Thickburger. And next we have knowledge capture, which involves continuous process of scanning, organizing, and packaging knowledge after it has been generated. So CKE continued to monitor production cost, average unit volumes, menu mixes, using their BI tool CPR to continuously capture results. Next up, we have knowledge codification. And knowledge codification is simply the representation of knowledge in a manner that can be easily accessed and transferred. So in this case, CKE used a proprietary system built of Microsoft SQL and other dev tools to parse and display metrics that help the firm make economic decisions and ultimately rescued the company from bankruptcy. And last, we have knowledge transfer. And knowledge transfer involves transmitting knowledge from one person or group to another and the absorption of that knowledge. CKE executives made a purpose-built platform and ensured managers across the board can understand and absorb information inside the BI tool to drive decision making. And the very last point I want to make is that remember that just because we read these in order and talked about these in order, there is no particular order. This is continuously evolving. So knowledge capture, knowledge codification, knowledge transfer, knowledge generation, there's no special order to these. These are always happening inside an organization that's effectively using knowledge management processes. Thank you very much. Hope you enjoyed. I'm going to turn it back over to Veronica for the rest of the presentation. Thank you.
Okay, so now let's talk about the famous monster Thickburger. So, for those who don't know, this is a 2 1/3 pound slabs of Angus beef, 4 strips of bacon, 3 slices of cheese, and mayonnaise on a buttered sesame seed bun, which sells alone for $5.49 and $7.09 with fries and soda. So, to predict the overall performance of the monster Thickburger, BIS monitored how it would perform at the test markets. One of the clear advantages of the system was that it was used to study a variety of factors, including its potential menu combinations, its volume compared to other burgers of the company and competitors, the levels of the profit, and the contribution that each of the items had to sales. So, in terms of the analysis of introduction of the monster Thickburger, was it a good idea? So, the CKE has successfully utilized their business intelligence and analytics in the implementation of the monster Thickburger, resulting in a profitable product addition. And after spending millions of dollars in marketing, their launch of the new burger proved to be successful, as reflected in increased sales and operating margin. During a time when competitors were trying to be more health conscious, it would have been easy for the product launch to fail. However, the CKE proved to have the strategic advantage because of their big data and business intelligence. So another factor was that its increase in sales and revenues allowed for global expansion. Therefore, based on the analysis, the production of the monster Thickburger was a good idea since it turned around the fortunes of the company. Available data indicates that sales for the monster Thickburger exceeded the company's expectations. It generally increased Hardee's sales revenue by over 8%, thus saving it from risk of bankruptcy.